There's an unfortunate reality that a lot of us men need to realize, and that is most of us waste years dating the wrong women. A lot of the time nowadays, in most modern relationships, a lot of men are focusing on the entirely wrong things. They're way too focused on the looks of someone and maybe the status that comes with a relationship or keeping someone that's way out of your league right next to you. We spend a lot of our time focusing on chasing the wrong type of excitement that comes with being with a certain person. And on top of that, we're trying to make chemistry that isn't there work in the first place. A lot of you guys might be in a relationship right now that's absolutely perfect for you. If that's the case, congratulations. There's a lot of men out there that may not be in the same boat right now. On top of that, when it comes to the future and you do get a relationship, you might not see the signs until it's too late. The signs of what, you ask? A low-value woman versus a high-value woman. Relationships are meant to go two ways. When too many men nowadays are stuck in unilateral relationships where they're giving their all to someone and they're not getting anything back in return, it shows that a lot of us may be dating the wrong people in the first place. If you want a relationship that's actually going to add to your life instead of subtract from it, you're going to need to be intentional about the type of woman that you choose to keep in your life. Not only is this going to benefit you in terms of the overall happiness of your relationship in general, but it's going to benefit you in terms of your mental health as well, with keeping your mind right. Because a woman shouldn't be there to add stress to your life. So I want to talk about a couple of things today in terms of some signs to look for in what would make a low value woman and some things to look for in knowing that you have a high value woman. Now, before I get started, this is 100% not an anti-woman campaign that I'm running here. Generally, I think that there's a compatible partner for every single person on this planet. However, it comes down to the things that you value the most that are going to make you happy. And there's different things that us men really need to take into consideration when it comes to choosing women to keep in our lives, because if we continue to crumble and simp over these ladies, we're not going to be happy. We're just going to spend our life suffering at the whim of another. So no, this is not cope. This is about setting boundaries and respect for yourself when it comes to choosing the type of person that you want to date or spend the rest of your life with. We only have one life. So we have to make it the best that we possibly can, so why not choose the correct partner to spend that life with? So what makes a woman high value to a man? A high value woman should not be perfect, and it shouldn't check off every single fantasy in your checklist. If you're looking for the funniest woman on the planet and the perfect body and the best sex, you're just looking in the wrong place, man. A high value woman is going to be someone who respects herself and adds value to your life. They're going to be the person that's going to support the man that you're trying to become. They're going to do this by bringing peace, not chaos, to your life. It's going to be someone that challenges you to grow without tearing you down. It's going to be someone that's secure enough to be a true partner instead of a project for someone for you to try to fix. A lot of men find themselves in relationships nowadays where they're trapped with someone who wants to constantly argue and make things about themselves. That's going to be the biggest quality of a low-value woman, when a high-value one is going to be one that has the emotional maturity to sit down and talk things through with you, because they find that having the same respect for others is what they would be getting in return. So that kind of wants me to lead us into the first point that I have here, which is about emotional stability and maturity. A low-value woman is going to have constant mood swings. They're going to have so much drama going on. They're going to play games with you, and they're going to make everything about their feelings. These types of people make things unilateral, where you're the only one really putting in effort when it comes to helping out with problems or trying to fix issues within the relationship. These are going to be the type of people that you're going to exhaust a lot of effort with when it comes to fixing something, and they're going to shame you for it because you didn't do good enough for that because it doesn't fit what they need, instead of thinking about what you both need. A high-value woman would be someone that's going to regulate their emotions. They're going to be able to communicate with you clearly instead of using the silent treatment, that manipulation, or the drama that comes along with it. A high-value woman may have an issue with something going on, but they're not going to scream and yell about it, and they're not going to bring you down because of it. They're going to have that emotional maturity to sit down and chat with you and be able to talk things through. I just talked about them having respect for themselves because they would want to be treated the same exact way. A high-value woman is going to understand that more than a low-value woman. This type of respect for themselves comes with a massive amount of respect for you, and which brings me into my next point, which is going to be having some sort of respect for what you're doing and your purpose and your goals. And for this, I do have an example. In a previous relationship that I was in for about 4 years, I had ambitions and goals of starting so many different things. I wanted to get my life insurance license to sell life insurance independently. I wanted to start businesses online. I was doing music production and I wanted to be able to sell beats at the time and work with artists. There were other ideas for businesses that I had because I truly feel like that I do want to have my own business someday. And I don't necessarily mind having a job, but I feel like it would be a fantastic goal to aim for, to have something that I've earned and worked for with my own business. But when this person heard these goals and ambitions that I had, they were always shot down. It was never, "I'm so proud of you for wanting to achieve your dreams." It was always, "Why aren't you doing something more realistic to benefit our relationship more?" It was always, "Get this job, interview for this job. I don't like you working in this specific field." Everything was kind of bending to her will rather than me focusing on what I wanted to do to achieve my own purpose in life. And now things are way different. I go to my woman with something that I want to do and I tell her about the goals that I have, and it's almost like a round of applause and a standing ovation because she's a cheerleader for me. That's what she says. She wants to be there to support me and she wants to be there by my side and she wants to watch me grow right now. That's going to be one of the biggest differences that you'll see between a high value woman and a low value woman when it comes to your purpose. Someone without respect for you and that's low value is going to resent your ambitions and they're going to get jealous of the things that you focus on. If you go to the gym or you have friends and you want to focus on work, she's going to try to pull you away from all of those things. This might be just a generally needy person, but this also might be someone that wants to have some sort of control over you in that sense. And that's not always the case, but it is a case a lot of the times. Someone with high value is going to support the mission that you're on. If you set discipline for yourself, like if you want to make sure that you're hitting your gym goals every day, right now, I'm trying to hit certain calorie and protein goals when it comes to building my body, and my girl is so proud of me. All she does is tell me how big she thinks I'm getting and whatnot. Whatever. The fact of the matter is, it does make me feel really good about myself, and that's what a high value woman is going to do. They're going to make you feel good about yourself when it comes to you pursuing the things that you want to do in your life. They're going to be proud of your drive and they're not going to compete with it. Kind of comes back to the point of having that self-respect for themselves because they treat others with respect and they expect the same kind of treatment back. So that kind of brings me into my next point, which is about that self-respect and those boundaries. Someone who does not respect you and does not respect the relationship that you have is going to do multiple things between being desperate for attention. Now, this can come in many forms because this can be straight thirst traps that they're posting, or think about the difference between someone who's happy in a relationship and who's not. If you're stalking Instagrams like I used to, you might see that a lot of women that are in relationships are still posting ass pics and them in a bikini on the beach all the time on the internet that are just getting hundreds of likes. That's one of the main factors of someone who's really attention seeking because all they care about is likes. They need constant validation from others, so they need a bunch of other random people on the internet, whether it's men or women, telling them how beautiful they are. They can't stand only having one person in their lives that finds the value in who they are and how beautiful they are. Does that sound like someone who's going to respect the relationship that you have compared to just seeking validation for themselves? Absolutely not. That's where the difference comes in. Someone who has strong standards for themselves and how they're treated isn't going to go chase validation from other men. When you have a good woman in your life, that person is going to be solely focused on you. They're not going to be focused on how many likes they're getting on social media because of their new bikini pic. They're not going to be worried about the DMs that they're getting from anybody else. They're going to be strictly focused on what they're building with you. And that's a fantastic feeling to have, man. When they're focused on building something with you, it's going to directly correlate into how they handle conflict. Think about what a low-value woman, you probably can already guess what that's going to look like. It's going to be someone who turns every single disagreement into a fight, looking to fight at any point possible. They're going to be bringing up the past. They might attack your character. These are the things that we 100% need to avoid in someone. Because like I said at the beginning, this is about respecting yourself and the boundaries that you set. When you have someone in your life that wants to fight at any given moment and they want to be someone that tears you down instead of building you up, that is 100% not acceptable as a person to keep around. Someone who handles conflict well is going to be someone that can disagree without disrespecting you. They want to be able to solve problems with you together. Instead of arguing, it's a conversation. Think about what I just said. A conversation is going to do much more wonders than something like a argument because of the fact that sitting down and talking with someone is a sign of mutual respect. When you go and you argue, it's generally a sign of anger and emotional instability. Arguments might happen in most relationships, but if you have the capacity to respect each other and know that it's not personal, that's one of the best things that you can get out of any relationship. When someone wants to argue versus talk about things, that can also correlate into how they support you or if they drain you. Someone who drains you is going to be someone that's emotionally exhausting, constant complaints. They're going to have drama with their friends. They're going to be the person that brings all of these issues to you and expects you to be their punching bag for everything going on in their life because they take it out on you. Maybe they're even financially irresponsible. They go out every single weekend and spend hundreds of dollars out at the clubs or bars and on Ubers and all of that stuff. These types of things drain a man's mental health. They don't necessarily help support it or uplift it in any ways because we're constantly worried about what they're doing or where they're going and what they're going to say when they come home and the things that just come along with that. You don't have to worry about that with a high value woman because they're going to be bringing the peace to your life. You're not going to come home and immediately get into an argument and hate the rest of your day after you just had a long day at work. They're going to be there. They're going to give you a hug. They're going to rub your shoulders. They're going to ask how you're doing, and they're going to want to talk to you about things. You're going to feel better spending time with them compared to a low value woman. And like I had just mentioned too, there is that difference between worrying about where someone is at all times and those things that come with that type of loyalty and trust. And that's the next thing that I'm going to discuss here, because a low value woman is someone that you have to worry about constantly. Whether it is you make plans and they're super flaky, or it is someone who could potentially have history of cheating and talking to their exes. If they don't trust you and they want to make sure that you're on the phone with them at all times, FaceTiming them whenever you're out with your boys, but you can't necessarily get that kind of trust back because they won't share their location with you. And when you try to call when they're out, they can't give you the same respect back by giving you an answer or telling you how they're doing. That is 100% unhealthy. For an example from my life, my previous relationship, my location was shared so that she could keep a constant tab at me on all times, so that way she wasn't thinking that I was out with anyone doing anything fun, right? But when I'm with the boys, I'm up to some fuck shit sometimes, I can't lie. So that would become an argument as to why were you out this late and at this place and yada yada yada, and it was just so mentally draining. And now my location is shared with someone who just wants to use that as an idea to see when I'm going to be home so that way she can time cooking dinner properly. If I want to go out and hang out with friends, it's not going to be a massive argument in it when I get back because she does not care where I've gone or where I've been. She trusts me and I trust her to understand that I'm not going to do anything to sabotage what we have. And this is where trust comes in to be such a crucial factor for our mental health when it comes to a relationship, because if you have to constantly spend your days in a state of awareness for someone because you know that they have a past, or if they've done something in the relationship that has made you unhappy, whether it was seeking attention and cheating or whatever it may have been, it puts us in a state of panic most of the time that we're in a relationship with this person. When you're dating someone that's high value, you don't have to worry about that at all, and it is a massive stress relief off of your shoulders. You don't have to worry about where they're going or where they've been or who they've been with because you can trust them when they're not around. There's no better feeling than knowing that you have someone in your life that is loyal and will keep things secure for you. When you don't have loyalty or trust in a relationship, it's generally the sign that you might have a low value woman. It could be on you in this point too, but if it's the other person that you're worried about, you might need to do some reevaluation. And I also feel like something that directly correlates with loyalty and trust is going to be the type of feminine woman that you have in your life as well. And I could sit here and give a massive discussion on the problem that I have with modern day feminism, and it doesn't necessarily have to do with women's rights, it's just how it's being used nowadays. But I'm not going to get into that right now because I could go on for hours about that. A feminine woman is going to be someone that is going to love being around their man. They're going to be someone that wants to support their man. They're going to want to be someone that's there for them and wanting to be able to do the feminine things like cleaning the place, making sure that your home is a home and not just a shitty apartment. They want to be able to cook meals for you. They want to make sure that you're fed and that you're happy. Someone on the other end of the feminism movement that's way past just equal rights for women is going to be someone that's trying to wear the pants in the relationship. And a lot of data shows that women are generally happier when they get to act as the woman in the relationship instead of your mother, or instead of the person that is the man or does the masculine things. This is going to be someone who constantly tries to compete with you, and let's be real, competition is a male trait. We have been born and bred to try and compete with other men for our entire lives. Women don't necessarily need to be doing that with each other. So does the woman that you're with actually embrace their true feminine side, or do they try to block that off with what the modern movement of feminism is? Because realistically, modern day feminism isn't just about equal rights anymore. I feel like it's gone way too far to the point where it's about sleeping with as many people as you want and basically bringing men down and degrading them in ways where they're not even important to the world anymore. That's what the true nature of feminism has become, right? I mean, if we're being honest. And this is going to directly tie into the future when it comes to wanting to start a family and having long-term values. That low value person is going to be embracing the party lifestyle, wanting to go out constantly. They're going to be the ones that want to take the girls' trip to Miami. They're going to be the ones that have those anti-family views, or they're going to be unclear about what they actually want in their life. Someone who embraces their feminine side wants to know that they want to start a family and they want to take care of their men and they want to build something lasting instead of something that's short term. They're going to be someone that values the loyalty of having a long-term partner. I think we can all agree that the modern day far too gone feminist is not going to appreciate the true family values, because that generally means sticking around with someone for a long period of time. And we tend to see things like hookup culture at a higher rate than ever nowadays, and you're going to find low value women in that tier of those activities compared to wanting to be with someone, starting a family, getting married, buying the house, doing those types of things. So I mean, with all of these examples that I just gave between the difference of a high and a low value woman, it's like, why does this even matter? When you choose the wrong woman, it can destroy your momentum. It can drain your resources. It can derail your purpose. When you choose the right person that multiplies your success, a high value woman that's not going to compete with you, it's going to complement the man that you're becoming and the man that you are, not only is your relationship going to be better, but your life is going to be generally happier. This channel is all about supporting your mental health, and I'm using different things like dating as a tool to help you guys understand where your happiness might come from. It's not going to come from having another person in your life, but it's going to come from having the right person in your life. So ultimately, we really need to stop settling for the women who bring chaos to our lives. Be patient and hold out for the one that's going to be able to bring peace and still challenge you to be better. You deserve a woman who respects what you're doing, respects your purpose, and respects your mission. They're going to match your effort, and they're not going to make it unilateral. There's going to be a two-way street in that relationship. They're going to make life better, not harder. So gentlemen, if you have thoughts on this, or you've been in a situation where you've been with a low value woman, or you've seen some success with a high value woman, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Share your experiences. I want it to be a learning experience for all of us. So if there's examples that you have, drop that knowledge for the other people to see too. If you made it this far, just want you to know that I 100% appreciate you, and I look forward to helping you guys grow and seeing you grow for the next while, man. We will catch you in the next one. Peace.